Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Yesterday marked yet another important step in the relationship between the Maldives and Sri Lanka. The visit of His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa is an important milestone for several reasons. It is the first visit by a head of state to the Maldives since the government of President took office, and the fifth official visit by President Rajapaksa. Sri Lanka is one of our oldest and closest friends. Sri Lanka was amongst the first countries to establish relations with the Maldives. We established formal ties on the very first day that the Maldives gained independence on 26 July 1965. Next year, we will mark the golden jubilee of our relationship. This long-standing relationship and the mutual trust and respect that exists between our two countries has made Sri Lanka a lifelong friend of the Maldives. People-to-people contact between our two countries is exemplary. It is helping the economies of our two countries. The Maldives benefits from the large number of Sri Lankans working in various sectors in the country, and the Maldives, in its own way, also helps the economic growth of Sri Lanka. Last year, more than 80,000 Maldivian tourists visited Sri Lanka. Maldives is the fourth largest source market for Sri Lankan tourism. We recognize and applaud the tremendous post-conflict reconstruction efforts of the Sri Lankan government, and we believe that the Sri Lankan government and its people can address and overcome the challenges of post-conflict reconstruction and rehabilitation. Similarly, we are confident that Sri Lanka will soon be able to overcome the challenges arising from the tensions that flared up between Muslims and Buddhists in some parts of Sri Lanka in recent weeks. Peace and stability is vital for any country or community. Since 1906, long before formal relations were established, the Maldives maintained a mission in Sri Lanka. Similarly, we regard the presence of Sri Lanka in the Maldives as a matter of utmost importance. Therefore, we are pleased to announce, on a reciprocal basis, allocation of land to build the Chancery of the High Commission of Sri Lanka in the Maldives. This visit has cemented the long-standing strong relationship that exists between our two countries. Yesterday, our two countries signed 3 agreements, including on health cooperation. Maldivians have been long-standing consumers of the excellent education and health services in Sri Lanka. Under the agreement signed yesterday, the Maldives looks forward to further enhancing cooperation in the health sector, including in investing in human resources, recruitment of medical doctors and health professionals, and procurement of pharmaceuticals. We also signed agreements on search and rescue and strengthening economic investments. The Maldives and Sri Lanka will continue to cooperate on a variety of issues of mutual importance. This will be further facilitated through the continuation of the discussions of the Joint Commission, which Sri Lanka has graciously agreed to host later this year. I'm pleased that the visit of President Rajapaksa has been a tremendous milestone and a very successful visit. It's further cemented the relationship between our two countries, our governments, and our peoples. I would now like to invite His Excellency, the distinguished Sri Lankan External Affairs Minister, to say a few words to the Minister.
My distinguished colleague, ladies and gentlemen, I have pleasure in endorsing unreservedly the sentiments expressed by Her Excellency Dunya Maumoon with regard to the quality and the depth of the relationship between our two countries. As she rightly observed, the visit by His Excellency President Rajapaksa state visit epitomizes the significance of the relationship and its multifaceted character. I think it is no exaggeration to say that the bilateral relationship between Sri Lanka and Maldives extends to every major sector of public policy. So the visit is in every sense a substantive visit. We signed several agreements yesterday which have far-reaching importance in terms of delivery of practical benefits to both countries. I would in particular refer to the agreement involving the border investment, which will administer a further impetus to the growth of economic relations between our two countries. Having regard to the present condition of our relationship, it is entirely appropriate that we focus on a joint commission, which will be a forum to address all the different aspects of the relationship, defense cooperation, trade and investment, people-to-people contact, to bring it all under one umbrella. And it is our intention to have this meeting of the Joint Commission in Sri Lanka towards the end of August. If you look at the major facets of the relationship, there is much to say there, and it is also possible to look to the development of the relationship with even greater strength and vitality in the months and the years to come. As far as trade is concerned, last year it grew by about 40%, and at present it is at the threshold of approximately 76 million US dollars. That is satisfactory, but there is of course room for improvement. In terms of investment, we are very happy that it is two-way investment. Major Sri Lankan entrepreneurs are investing in a big way in the Maldives, particularly in the development of tourism infrastructure. Defense cooperation is going very well indeed. There was a very fruitful meeting between the Defense Minister of the Maldives and His Excellency the President, at which we were able to survey what has already been accomplished and other ways in which we can add further strength and value to the relationship. Fisheries is an area in which I think there is plenty of scope for collaboration, value addition, people-to-people contact, the cultural traditions of the two countries bind us closer together. And Sri Lanka strongly supports Sosum Villa. That is an initiative by the government of the Maldives to breathe further life and energy into the cultural aspect of the relationship between our countries. I recall on this occasion that when I was Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, there was a very distinguished team headed by the then Vice Chancellor who visited the Maldives to examine the roots of your language, our language, and what we have in common in terms of the evolution of our language and our culture. I think one of the factors involved in the strong, robust relationship between our two countries is the excellent connectivity. And we are very eager to help the Maldives with their requests with regard to assistance in several areas, in particular health and education, as Excellency pointed out just now. Sri Lanka is more than happy to share our resources in the education sector with Maldives, offering places in our universities and where appropriate, offering scholarships. Health is another sector. In the medium and long term, we are happy to assist with regard to training, but in the short term, to make provision for doctors from Sri Lanka to visit your country and to make their own contribution in that regard. So these are some examples, some highlights of the relationship between our two countries. I want to emphasize that Sri Lanka values its multicultural traditions. The Buddhists, the Sinhalese and the Muslims have lived in amity and harmony in our country for centuries. At the village level, it is very much a practice that if there is any event of social significance, a wedding, a child coming of age, the entire village will participate without any consciousness of distinctions as to creed or religion or race. That is the tradition of Sri Lanka, of which we are inordinately proud. And His Excellency the President is very eager, very focused on not allowing any small group to disturb that relationship, and Sri Lanka's well-deserved marriage in that regard. So in conclusion, I would say that this is an exemplary relationship. We have always consistently, steadfastly cooperated with one another in multilateral fora. We are both very active members of SAARC. We have shared our vision for the development of SAARC, and His Excellency's visit on this occasion will be a further fillip in the development of our relations, and I look forward to working very closely with my colleague in the months to come. And I thank you very much for the very warm and cordial reception according to His Excellency the President and to his delegation.
He discussed a range of issues, including on the areas of support that Sri Lanka is extending to Maldives in health, education, and some other areas. We also touched on international issues relating to SAARC and international matters. Finally, also on the issue of climate and its importance to Maldives, and the fact that Maldives will be standing for chairmanship of the AOSIS grouping, and we also support Sri Lanka on that. So it was a detailed range of issues that were discussed, and I would request the Swedish Minister perhaps also to comment on that.
Yes, I would like to add that Sri Lanka, in our capacity as China Office in the Commonwealth, will, I think, be able to assist materially in this regard. On the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York in September, there will be an important meeting of small island states, and we will work very actively to support the Maldives. There is also an important meeting on the post-2015 development agenda, and that also raises many issues which are of deep significance to both our countries. With regard to SAARC, I think we share a common ideology, a common set of values with regard to the trajectory that SAARC should take in the near future. In particular, Sri Lanka appreciates the observation by President Abdullah Yameen when he inaugurated the SAARC meeting here in the Maldives a few months ago, and which he has reiterated on other occasions, that if a member of SAARC is being treated unjustly, then collectively SAARC should defend the interests of their country. And this is one way in which we can demonstrate the solidarity and the inherent strength of SAARC. This is a sentiment with which we identify emphatically, and we greatly appreciate the articulation of that point of view by the President of Maldives.
I'm Ali Nafiz. I have two questions for the External Affairs Minister. One is, as the Minister has pointed out, there are a lot of Maldivians residing in Sri Lanka for various purposes. Is there any specific threat to the Maldivians living in Sri Lanka due to the religious tensions there? Was the issue raised during the bilateral talks? And my second question is, Sri Lanka has consistently sought access to Maldivian ease and for its fishermen crossing travel into the Arabian Sea. Was the issue raised this time as well?
Well, your answer to the first question, there are approximately 9,000, something like 9,400 Maldivians living in Sri Lanka. They are a very happy and contented community. They live mainly in the southern parts of Colombo, the suburbs, Haveeru and Maumoon in particular. There has been absolutely no problem in that part of the country. This was localized. It was confined to a very narrow region. It did not cause any anxiety to Maldivians living in the country at all. The Sri Lankan government is certainly conscious of the well-being of the Maldivians there, and there has been no threat or discomfort to them in any manner whatsoever. I would like to say that very emphatically. Secondly, the question that you raised with regard to Sri Lankan fishermen and their entry into Maldivian waters, the relationship between the two countries is such that we do not need to raise issues formally in a bilateral or any other context. These are matters that we are perfectly happy and able to discuss with each other in a spirit of partnership and collaboration. There has been no issue at all in that regard. Any issue which needs to be taken up in that form and way. We have been discussing formally with the Maldivian government the right of innocent passage for our fishermen through Maldivian waters into the Arabian Sea. But it is not a critical issue. It is not something about which there is any kind of acute difference of opinion. And that is yet another example of the strength of the relationship between our two countries.
I can also just add to Mr. Stevens. With regard to the situation in Sri Lanka, we appreciate the efforts of the Sri Lankan government in controlling and ensuring security for all, including Maldivians in Sri Lanka. As the Minister noted, it's a localized incident, but we also assure you on the Maldivian government side and the Foreign Ministry, we are in touch with the Sri Lankan authorities, and our High Commission in Sri Lanka is monitoring closely and in touch with the community as well. So I just want to assure everybody that adequate care is being taken as far as can be in looking out for the situation and ensuring safety of the Maldivians in Sri Lanka. Official talks are putting Danwal Padande into Sri Lanka Foreign Minister Siddhartha Gafito, President Rajapaksa, Kurumba Island Resort, Taragia, Sri Lanka की होता है कि रात में सितारा खास पर मेरे पास को दम पारे मोये इसकी सोचरों में कोलगा सितारा की मैं तो इधर फुला कुरमा हिंदुरामल कुरमा ऐसे कहते हैं सरकार कुरम कहते हैं मसे कहते हैं इधर श्रीलंका सरकार कहते हैं बेटा अड़िग विवाह का आदि मोये इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए हिलच इधरों सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू एरिया का आदि इत्तेफादी पुरेम सरकार द्वारा मैगर मकसद देता इत्तेफादी गतों अलमैन की फुल तेरा का पुरवाना से के पुरवाना बड़ा में प्रोजेक्ट के निहारवानी अनाउंस करें मसले के पूरे टाइम इदारा तक जो आता है कि इधरों श्रीलंका के बिजनेस डेलीगेशन में फार्म पड़ा हुआ है और मिनिस्ट्री आदि नहीं बिजनेस दायरा तक के बेफुलना मशवरा करो निहार से गेंद इदारा तक के बात के इधर मिनिस्ट्री पर होता अमूमन के चेयर ऑफिस का प्रेसिडेंट राजपाक्सा को करने के लिए बना अक़वामी है कि वो तक का अलवा लेवल दिया है कि साथ के मसले तक का कुरियर के बार वो दिए गए खास को इंडिया का अलग पढ़ने में प्राइम मिनिस्टर सर बड़े में कमा हमने तेबा अलने मसले का श्रीलंका आदि सरहद के हिंदू तक में साथ के मसले पूरा अलना पर मसले पूरा मशवरा करें तो इस सवाल Again, Kurumba Island High Commission on that situation, Hama Commodore Office, where a Gatham Balomo. They Liga Commissarica Media, the Masaketa Mahinda, and Dinapara, Bergina Outer Parliament, Astoala, Oligan, the Dinapara Media sensationalized Purati, Hemima, Editerega, Gilubatum, and the Torpara social media, the media Taco by Fara, Emme Hakigata, Kashiga Noa, not a Hilafwa, Gotamiba. Pero falta vez más que te pure gana que lo no ni si es issuta que ne que no तो deliver का हम मालूम आदि दिवेही ना contact को जो फोन बस हम मालूमात देवो हाई कमिश्नर में स्टडी देन फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री हाई कमिश्नर उलिगे हाई कमिश्नर प्रेसिडेंट साहिया बिहार का हम मालूम के दोनों हम अलवन दानवा बेलुमणी जो बिहार इतना अलवन में मसक्ते और के नालान में मसक्ते के पुराण में Iraq Arabia situation was Ramadan Sri Lanka subcontinent पर आतुम बागों में इतना मसला कोर्स में किसी के पर गेलर ने आलू में इस बात पर में श्रीलंका सरकार ने से बागों में लेना आलू में लेना फिर हिंदुस्तान और बड़े शुक्रिया में तो बड़ा